Hello, Tribe. How's it going? And welcome to a new episode of All About. And in this week, we're going to talk about play. So, what the hell is play now? Well, play is basically, in OP terms, the combination of an extroverted observer and an extroverted decider. And they work together in order to create play. So that's the technical definition of it, and the more like sentimental in a way definition of it, or feeling definition of it, the way that I see it or I experience play is this energy or this impulse to expand energy. So how do you expend energy? It really also matters, because when you have your extroverted decider involved in your working with the extrovert observer, that means that you want to expend energy with the tribe, right? So the differences, for example, between play and consume is that consume is an information animal, whereas play it's an energy animal that is also extroverted. So people who have play in the top three functions are going to basically be people who are going to be very out there in a way. They're going to be very present in a way. They're not going to give this impression of them drifting off the outside world and going into the deep internal world as double introverted people do. So that also has, like every animal that is a savior, there's his advantages and his disadvantages. And I want to take a moment here to get a little bit more reflexive on how society, in a way, values play, because this is very important to understand in the way that which this plays out. Because the truth is that we have a society, a system that is very biased towards the people, or the concept of going all the way and being always out there, you know. So the more you play, it seems that the more success you tend to have, because you're completely out there. You're doing stuff. You are not only doing stuff, but you're doing stuff more in a ping pongy way, because the way that I see play, at least in my own biased experience, is like a ping pong. You are playing the ping pong game with life, basically, and also people are included in this ping pong and constantly back and forth. You give, you receive, and you give based on what you receive. And that's basically how play works. Is less like this constantly back and forth, of giving and receiving, giving and receiving. And the issue in here comes obviously with people who don't have play high, who have sleep above play, because those people seem to have very strong uh, issues, especially with society. It seems that the system is designed to be made fun of people who will never expend their energy and who are always like in a vegetative state, and that they don't preserve that energy, and they just go out and expand that energy. So it's really hard for people who have sleep above play, but it's weird because the way that I see it is that whereas having sleep above play in the short term, it might affect you in the short term, especially when you're in your teens and in your 20s, because society expects you to have this whole bunch of energy that you need to expand. That's the expectation. That is the standard that society has for young people to be out there, to be constantly on the go, to never stop, because you're young and you have all this energy inside you that you need to share with the world. And if you're not doing that, you're just a fucking asshole. And that's basically how people who don't have play first are treated by society, and they're deeply punished, especially in their youth, it seems to me. And they're seem like they're missed out on many things, which in a way it's true. They do miss out on a lot of things, but that's short term, because long term it turns out way better for people who are sleepable play than for people who are playable sleep, because they are able, unlike play firsts, to put the brakes in order to think, to really process, and to really make internal sense of the information that they consume or the experiences that they go through. Whereas play firsts are these crackheads in a way that are constantly on the go, and there's the negative downside of play, which is crash. So, play crash, the way that I experience play crash in my life is like someone just pulls off the plug out of me. And in my case, I suspect that I have play above sleep, especially tracking my behavior. And since I came to the OPIP group, well, first with the official unofficial group and then with the official group, all I've been doing is playing and pinging on the tribe in order to get that information out. So the way that I experience the play crash is that sooner or later there comes a point in where the plug is pulled out of me and I just can't keep on playing, even if I want to. I mean, because if it was up to me, I would be playing all the fucking time, basically, and I would never stop. But with sleep, it comes in this huge, sometimes overwhelming sensation, physical sensation of just shutting down. My brain shuts down, my whole body shuts down, and there's no way for me to access that well of energy in order to keep on expending that energy. So, however, on the other side of the coin, or on the backside, if you say so, there has always been like this constant feeling of tiredness, and also expending way too much energy on the wrong things, because that's something that also play tends to run into. You expend a lot of energy in the wrong stuff. You don't focus on the stuff that you really need to focus in order to get your shit together and move on. And because you don't do that, you don't have that filter that is sleep, you just are left out without any energy to really focus on the shit that really matters to you. So that's the way that I experience play crash, and it's really frustrating because there's a part of your brain that wants to do the thing, that knows that doing this thing is pretty important, but there's other part of you who is scared as shit of going inside, of going away from other human beings and not being able to play and just work in an isolated environment. So there's these two parts of my brain, that's at least the way that I experience it, that are constantly fighting each other and contradicting each other. And the only way that I've been able to really balance that out has been with meditation practices and also breath work. Breath is really magic, it works wonders. And I really recommend anybody who wants to improve their focus, their concentration, and decrease their anxiety to go on and do some meditation slash breath exercises. I really guarantee you that you're going to feel way more focused and centered after doing them. So, T shitty blaster tip aside, that's the way that I experience play in my life. And it's interesting because when I first discovered OP, I thought that I was play savior and not. Sorry, I thought that I was sleep savior and not play savior because when I looked back into my life, I not this person who is constantly on the go. I don't really enjoy expending energy that much, nor I think that I feel responsible to do so. But also, and this can happen, that you have your energy animals in the middle. So when you have your play and your sleep in the middle, that means having it on the second or third function, you're still going to have a relatively balance. You're not going to be a crackhead like these play first, sleep last types. And that will give you a little bit more chill vibe and not a crackhead vibe. So that's also really interesting to see how, especially these energy animals more than information animals, overlap with each other, depending on if you have it in the first and fourth stack or in the second and third stack. Because with information animals, I don't see that overlap happening that much. Like, it's really easy for me to detect if someone is a saber consume or a saber blast. But the irony of this is that I am unable to see that on myself. Hmm. Interesting, right? So there are times where I would feel like I'm a consume saber. There are times where I would feel like I'm a blast saber. And that's something that it doesn't happen, for example, with the energy animals. There are people who are consume play or play consume that if they have sleep as their third animal, they're going to come across way more chill than a consume play who has sleep last. So, with that said, I really think that play energy is basically your access to the outside world. If you need or you want something and you have to come and get it, you can't skip it. That's what you basically need to do. You need to play. And that's something that also makes me, in a way, cringe because I always despise this type of philosophy of go, 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 never stop, go, 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 go. But on the same token, it seems like this philosophy of that philosophy or way of seeing life is the way that gets you far ahead in life. But it also comes with a cost, and that cost is that because you never take your time to stop and really think and really give that perspective of where is it that you are heading, you can make a false move that is going to make you lose everything that you work or that you play so hard to get in the first place. I've seen a lot of famous people who are now I know play sabers that have gone through it. I know a lot of close acquaintances of mine that are play saber that have gone through it. That they make this false step because they didn't take the time to really think before acting, and they lose everything. Or if they don't go that way, they crash and they burn out and had to spend months, sometimes even years recovering from that. Like, for example, Jordan Peterson. You know, it's really fascinating to see that because the first time that I came across Jordan Peterson, I thought that this was a guy that had his shit together, and to realize that he was play over sleep was really impressive. And to see the last fallout that he went through, it's something that is very typical of people who have play above sleep, who have not only play above sleep, but who have sleep as a really demonized animal, you know. So, with that said, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video and my shared thoughts on play. And next week we are tackling now an extroverted information animal, and that is Blast. So if you want to know my thoughts on that, stay with me and I see you on the next video. Bye.